What's going on, guys? This is Patrick, and you're trading with Prime. What a day in the market today. I don't even think you guys need these videos, to be honest with you. I could go through here every night. I'm sure it's no surprise to everybody. The market is up today. Tomorrow's forecast probably up. We're going to dive into this, but SMH is up 2.65%. The VIX is up today. The VIX has been on a nice little run. The Dow Jones is up 1.59%. Biotech is up 1.5% almost. S&P 500 is up with an amazing breakout today, 1.45%. The financials are up. The transports are up. The Qs, we'll look at those. Those are up almost 1% today in the Qs. TLT is up almost 1%. IWM is up 0.8%. We will look at all of this. Today also the precious metals are down a little bit, primarily due to the dollar. We'll look at UUP today. We'll get into all of this. Okay, I don't know if you remember this chart from a few days ago. We were talking about some low prices. Let me change the color of this so you can actually see what I'm doing here. We're almost at 5-year lows, which the 5-year low is from a few weeks ago, or rather, I believe this is, let me get a date on this. The date is June 8th. So we'll take a look at the S&P 500 at June 8th. You guys have seen me do this before. I'm going to do it again today. For those of you who don't know, this is the CBOE put to call ratio. And so what this means is right now we're trading at, well, actually the date we have is September 1st, which is yesterday. We had a 0.40 reading in the put to call ratio, which means for every 100 calls, there were 40 puts. And then of course, August 31st, 0.45. So we're seeing this downtrend, but of course at the end of August, we were below this. We had a 0.38, 0.39. But to give you some perspective here on the 5-year chart, you can just kind of look at this downsloping line here. The average is close to, I want to say the average is probably close to 0.7 to 0.75 is a normal put to call ratio. What this means at these low figures is that the market is extremely bullish right now. And so what that could mean for the contrarian point of view is that option traders are usually wrong. I don't know the actual figure for this. It's maybe 90% of options traders lose money on the options, especially when we actually go in and look at the puts, and which probably gives us a good reason why the VIX is up. Could have more to do with hedging purposes than it is anything else. I don't know if, maybe a turn in the market is imminent, but we will see in the next few days to the next few weeks. It's really hard to judge that. One thing I do know is these figures are extremely low, which means the overall market is extremely bullish. Let me go, while we're on here, let me go to another screen. I might get in trouble from Obed. Something he said today, and I of course said 100% bingo. What he said was, I know today reminds me of that one Thursday financials were up, everything else ran up, and then Friday, boom, massive sell-off. He is on to something, and exactly why I said 100% bingo is because this comment for him to see this and recognize this is exactly what I was thinking today. He of course beat me to the punch as far as who got to it first. We're going to go into the financials here in a little bit. First, we're going to start with the S&P 500. What you're looking at here is a weekly chart of the S&P 500. And the reason why I wanted to show you this is we drew this trend line in. This is actually coming off of the .com lows. So let me get the trend line up on the screen, and I'm going to zoom in on this trend line in a minute to current price. Right now we're at a high of 358.75. That's the high we put in today. So as far as this trend line goes, there really is no way of judging where this top is going to come in. This could be potential resistance, but it doesn't mean it has to be. In fact, I wouldn't even say that this market is following the normal guidelines and procedures and rules, and everything that we know about trading is out the window looking at this rally. It was kind of like the same thing on the actual coronavirus dump. There isn't anything like this. And so the technical analysis on the dump itself reminded me of that. Not that I was trading back here, but just looking at the chart of 2008 financial crisis, we saw the same kind of snap in the marketplace as we did see in the coronavirus itself. I'm going to zoom into an intraday chart here. Actually, let's look at the year-to-date chart. Let me zoom in on this for you guys. So as you can see, you see how the trend line tags the top. Let me do this. You can see, follow my cursor if you can here. You can see the trend line coming off of the .com bubble all the way up, and we nicked the top part of this February highs. So now I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this daily chart, just so you can kind of see. Hopefully, let me do this actually for you guys. Don't mind my screen here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So I want you to really be able to see this. Oh, you saw my blooper highlighter. Okay, so you can kind of see this trend line coming in here, and we actually went right through today. This was potential resistance, and we just broke through that. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is from 2001, so for all I know, you know, maybe this trend line is in the wrong spot. Maybe it actually comes up here. Maybe it's down here. Like, who really knows where it's at this point? It's anybody's guess. It's just something to keep an eye on. Like, we don't really know where it's at. One thing I do know, and I don't mean to be point out, you know, the uptrend to anybody. It's pretty clear as day that the market is bullish. I don't need to tell anyone that. It's not breaking news. We are having higher highs, higher lows, and really, to be successful in this market, we have to trade with the trend. And honestly, what I'm doing is I'm waiting for the pullback. And like I've said before, the pullback's either going to come in time or it's going to come in price, just like that. So I'm personally waiting for that as far as trading the actual S&P 500 and most stocks inside of the S&P 500. Let me go to a smaller time frame for you. Let's do a 15-minute chart. And let's zoom in on this a little bit here. Actually, I'm going to get really zoomed in here. I want you guys to see this. This is kind of interesting here. Now, this is something I kind of noticed today. Let me do it one more time and really get you guys spinning a little bit with my zooming in. So the 15-minute time frame is almost as low as I go as far as trading goes. I usually don't go anything lower than that unless I'm day trading. And even then, I'll maybe I'll go to a 5-minute chart, but usually I'll use a 15-minute chart. So this is what's interesting. So you see our trend line coming across here, and I totally drew it in the wrong spot. You see our trend line pop across the screen just like that. I thought today, so you saw this double bottom here, higher highs, higher lows compared to these back here. And I noticed this today. We actually ran up, we traded sideways a little bit, we broke through. If you can kind of follow my cursor here, we broke through, and then we actually pulled back. And look at this price on this candle. The low of this candle is 355.81. Now again, I don't know where this trend line is. I mean, it could be way above the screen, it could be below the screen. I happen to have the trend line drawn on here. And by the way, go look at the post in the Discord under Prime's charts, and you'll see it from yesterday. It was either today or yesterday or last night. So this trend line was here already. I noticed we broke through, we came back and we back tested. Now at the time I was thinking, you know what, maybe this trend line is drawn in the wrong spot. Maybe it's right here and it's there's a rejection here. Well, that's not the case. That's not what happened. We back tested and then we rallied away from that trend line. Now, and I don't mean this is forward guidance as far as what tomorrow is going to bring. I just thought it was interesting that we rallied right up to it. We pulled back. And then, of course, once we broke out, we did a back test and then we've taken off. Now, again, at the last, going into after hours, it looks like we have a bear flag pattern on the 15-minute chart. But to be honest with you, this could just be a bull flag. I mean, it depends really where you're drawing it from. That's what's interesting. That's the S&P 500. Let's go look at the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ, and let me zoom out for this because now we really need to see what's going on here. You know, my heart goes out to all of you bears out there, and don't get me wrong, I am absolutely a believer in this market should not be where it's at. But the thing is it is where it's at, and that's what we, as traders, we have to recognize where we're wrong. And so, you know, at this point, to short this market without there being some sort of breakdown or like we saw a reversal candle, if you look at my cursor here, we will get this reversal candle. To be honest with you, I thought it was going to be today. We do see a lot of volume picking up. I wouldn't call this exhaustion volume just yet. But to be honest, it's an uptrend. So trying to short this is is not very intuitive. So let me zoom in just so you guys can kind of see what's going on here. Today's price action alone, you see where we've just been rallying up here into no man's land. We pulled back a little bit and then we've rallied some more. So part of what's going on here is, let me go take a look at Apple. And as far as the broad market goes, we are looking for a reversal candle. And the thing is it can look, there's several things that it can look like. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is technically a reversal candle. This is the kind of candle we were looking for. So the thing is we didn't close below yesterday's low, but this is a very bearish candle in nature on heavy volume. There could be institutional participation as far as selling into this strength. That is something to completely consider here. And the thing is, since we're in this uptrend, I want to be clear about this. You have three moving averages, the 20, the 50, the 200 coming, and they're all aiming up. To be honest, if we stay above this price level, and I'm going to give you an actual price, if Apple stays above 123.57, this can stay this way for a while. It doesn't mean we're just going to reverse and go the other direction, although it is possible. But to see these pullback, these massive pullbacks, we gapped up higher this morning. We pulled back, 8.5%, close to 8.5%. People showed up to buy Apple. So the thing is we don't have to start selling off at this point. But as far as shorting Apple, there are better opportunities out there at this point, unless you're just day trading. I want to go to Tesla, which I didn't really want to get into Tesla, but today's price action is exactly what we're looking for when we're looking for a reversal. The problem with Tesla is it also closed back above the low. Let me zoom in so I really don't trip anybody out here. Today's candle technically was a reversal candle. It did get all the way down here to this price area. Price area was right around $411. But keep in mind, go watch the video we put out 2 days ago. We talked about a 10% reversal or a 20% reversal. I don't know what figure we used, but it pulled back 18%. Buyers stepped in, and like I said in that video, it's nothing to this chart. This chart is going to eat it up, and that's exactly what they did. Same goes for Tesla. First of all, it's very expensive to short Tesla if you're buying puts, if you're not using a spread. But just keep in mind, the dip buyers are going to show up. People are going to show up to buy this. So, shorting this when it's already down 18% might not be a very smart investment decision. I mean, not to tell anyone how to, trade their portfolio, but in my opinion, it's better to actually wait for it to start making lower lows and lower highs before trying to get into a swing trading short position. Now, let me go to an intraday time frame on Tesla, just so we can and I'm going to turn off extended hours. Let's see here. I mean, if you're not catching the high, trying to short this thing, and you're not catching the high, most times you're going to lose the trade. I mean, it's not easy. It's not as easy as it looks to try to catch the the exact top. We did see a little bit of what I thought was interesting today. Actually, I think we looked at this last night. Last night we were looking at this, and kind of what was going on was, is this going to play out? Pretend for a minute that this is the price action that we see last night or yesterday. A thought that I had was, is it going to play out as far as market symmetry goes to the downside? Meaning, you see this up move from here, it put in a high, a higher low, and then a final high. And what I thought was interesting was this price action right here, and then it started trading away from that. So if I clean up the screen one more time and show you this picture here, if you see this pattern, right, and I put little dots on the screen, where do we think the price is going to go next? Because to me, this looks like market symmetry taking place. And so that was something that, was a little bit interesting yesterday. And of course, we come into today, all bets are off, and they kind of, they just sell it off. Again, buyers showed up here at the $400 price level. What I can tell you about Tesla is this, or really any chart. If for any reason tomorrow, or let's say Friday, if for any reason we're trading back down at these levels, and this is just my opinion, I don't think they're going to stop here. I think they're going to take out the lows. So if you are in a long position in Tesla, keep that in mind, or really anything you're trading, to come back and back test this the next day or 2 days later. If that's what's going on, I don't think they're going to stop there. So keep that in mind. Okay, let me get off of this before I put you guys to sleep with Tesla. Let's go to IWM. Okay, so IWM, I did take a trade in IWM today, and I'm gonna put it on the daily chart. And the reason why I would rather trade the IWM versus the QQQ, or the S&P 500 is because I believe the risk versus reward is more in favor to the bulls than it is, trading the S&P 500 or the Qs, and that's why I chose this chart. I do like what's going on. I like the price action. Same thing we do see. I'm gonna get a trend going here. Again, we do see an uptrend, and the question I had in the last few days was, did we already take out this low? Is my trend line drawn in the wrong spot? Is it something like this where we already took out the trend line and we're just coming up to back test? That's possible. That is one scenario, but really this is what I was looking at. Is it's higher highs, higher lows, and right now we have resistance around $160 as far as taking out these early August highs. We have around $160. If we can take that out, we have resistance up here. The high is 162.76. Oh, you guys can't even see the screen here. Let me do this so you can see the screen. Okay, there. So over here, I'm following my cursor here. You have a high up here on both of these candles. You have a high here and a high here. I don't know necessarily. This is early February. I don't know if we're going to take these out. There will be resistance up in this price area, so kind of keep that in mind. But the risk versus reward is to me, it's well in favor of the bulls. Let me zoom in just a little bit more here. And mind you, it's hard to really trade this during the day, or anything for that matter. And that's the thing, is the market likes to kind of psych us out a little bit. So this morning when we were coming into the day before I took the trade, we're coming into today. Oh, let me do this. Right. And so what we're kind of looking at is higher highs, higher lows, but support really held, and then it just started curling up here. So right off the bat, coming into the morning, I saw somewhat of a little bit of a sell off. Let me clean up the screen and zoom in just one more time so you can really see the price levels. So right now we had a low put in. This is technically a reversal candle down here, and then price rallied away from that, and then we just kind of been curling up here, right? So what I was looking at this morning, we gapped open, which is pretty bearish to gap open and then trade all the way down to these price levels. But in my viewpoint at the time, as long as we stayed above these mids from yesterday or even the lows from yesterday, this chart is still good. It can still be a bullish chart. So really, that's what I was looking at. So I did place a trade. We posted it on the Discord. And by the way, since we're on the Discord subject, if you guys are gaining value out of these videos, hit the like button. If you're interested in the Discord, go to our webpage. I'll put the link in the description of the video, and so that we guys can stay up to date. But if you'd like just basic technical analysis, any kind of education that would help you, Sundays for free, we do a Sundays 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we do a technical analysis, or really any questions you guys have regarding technical analysis or any ticker symbols that you want us to look at, we'll go ahead and look at them for you guys. So let me get back to business. So again, it's kind of squeezing up here, and that's what we were looking for: higher highs, higher lows throughout the day. And we did close back above this candle from this morning, which is to me a very bullish in nature kind of scenario. Let me get off of this. Let's go to TLT. I'm kind of kicking myself for missing TLT. I've been talking about it for quite a while now. Let's go to the daily chart. And to refresh everyone's memory, we had volatility back here. We've been consolidating again. And the question I've been having is, are we going to have that same kind of volatility again? It looks like we already are. So this has been a theory of mine for a little while now. Go check out the videos, the previous videos that we've done. In regards to TLT, I had the question of, is the volatility going to pick up? Not necessarily is the market going to snap again as far as the bond market, but are we going to start to see volatility in one direction or the other take place in TLT? Well done for whoever's been taking this trade. I actually got stopped out a few days ago. I have not re-entered TLT, but so well done for anyone who took those trades. Let's go to the dollar, or let's go to UUP, and then we'll wrap it up. So UUP, I see a lot of different posts really all over. I see a lot of posts about the dollar and not just the dollar, but the bond market, and I see a lot of things back and forth relating to this subject. So Again, you saw the March crash where, things really started to pick up, and then consolidation, then we just started selling off a little bit, and we've kind of been creating this down sloping. People like to view these patterns as bullish as far as falling wedge kind of patterns. So I don't want to say that necessarily. I don't want to say the pattern itself is bullish. It's really hard to trade these patterns, but I want to zoom in just a little bit more so you can kind of see what's going on. We saw this price action where, it is in this falling wedge kind of a pattern. We could draw the trend line here several different ways. We could draw it like this, or, however we want to draw it on the chart. It is a question to me. Did the dollar just break out? And of course, it'd probably be better to use the futures, but this is the chart that I like to trade, so this is the one I'm using. Was this a back test? And so far, we've just been rallying away from that. Here's what I'm gonna say, regardless, just to simplify everything, because we don't need to make this complicating. As far as I'm concerned, price needs to get back above $25.20 in order for this thing to call this any kind of bottom, because honestly, we could go a lot lower than this. I would like to see more evidence of the dollar being bullish. And what does that exactly mean for stocks? Well, the dollar being bullish might not be a good thing for stocks. In fact, the dollar being bullish might not be that great for precious metals. But I'll have to remind you guys and urge this point to you guys, is that just because the dollar is bullish one day doesn't mean the precious metals are going to be bearish that same day. These things take time, and that goes for the bond market too. Everything doesn't roll together at the exact same speed. Things take time to work out, and that's exactly why I wanted to show you the post earlier about Obet saying that, he noticed the rotation possibly going into the financials. I noticed the exact same thing, and that is something that I did notice from a few weeks ago, or a few Thursdays ago, where the financials were extremely bullish. They were bouncing. They were up almost 1 or 2%. I can't remember. And as they were bouncing coming into the next day, everything else was kind of selling off. It was kind of a weird divergence, or a weird transition. And one thing I thought was really weird today was that the yields were down. At the same time the yields were down, the banks were rallying, and usually the banks like the yields rallying. So I thought it was a little bit interesting, but again, take note of that in your trading. Put all of these things together and really figure out what works best for you guys. So I think that wraps it up for today's video. Again, if you like the video, hit the like button, and feel free to subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when we go live on Sundays at 5. We will see you in the next video.